Hey YouTube, this is Southern Prepper 1. This is what I did at the conference that was just this weekend. It was a great time. So I'm going to share a little bit with you. I'm going to probably go through it a little quicker than I did at the conference. Some people asked me if I could videotape it. So I didn't videotape that. Someone else did, but I'm going to show you what I put out for people. Basically, it was a Suburban Prepper conference. So I'm going to talk about security for the Suburban Prepper. Why do we need security? That's probably what people are asking. A lot of times they ask it, that question is because they really don't want to deal with the question. They're in denial or they don't know what to do. Definitely outside their comfort zone. It's very hard sometimes to talk to people because they don't want to realize that potentially all the supplies they're putting back could be a target for people that didn't put anything back. Most of you on YouTube know I talk about raw without rule or law. And this is the worst situation. Now, there's a lot of threats out there, natural disasters, NBC events, terror attacks, a lot of things that could happen. The things that I'm worried about personally, which I am worried about all the other ones, especially natural disasters, but economic collapse or an EMP event that could take us back to the 1850s. Economic collapse is what I think will happen to this country, which will then bring about social chaos. During this time, especially in a raw situation, you're going to be on your own. So you have to take security very serious. Security for your family is your responsibility. If we do have a serious incident, it's going to be a lot of chaos. And if it's a raw situation, there's going to be a power vacuum. I hope and pray that honorable men and women step forward and fill that power vacuum, and they try to do the best for their community and do the right thing. But we all know people are going to step forward that are there for selfish reasons and to grab power and to benefit themselves, not the community. So hopefully honorable people step forward. During a raw situation, police and emergency services will probably not exist, or if they do, they're so overstretched the average person on the street will not be influenced by the police. The police might be there to guard government buildings, what's left of food stocks and supplies, or they're probably just going to go home and protect their families, which I would not blame them. Their families are very important to them, just like my family is. And if my family's not safe, I can't do whatever job I'm trying to do. They also might be tasked with disarming law-abiding citizens. We all know what happened in Katrina, well documented, no doubt about it. Law enforcement, military, private contractors went around confiscating personally owned firearms, entering homes, and taking these. Probably the saddest thing I've seen recently was what happened. Anybody that has sworn an oath to protect the Constitution and just violates that, I'm worried about those people. What would they do next? We all know our security mission as preppers, or anybody in America, should be not to shoot people or have a violent confrontation, but to show the threat that we mean business and use force only as a last resort. You got to remember, what you're doing is right, and if you're ready to use deadly force, that's okay. Just try to do everything in your power not to. If you can leave the scene, if you can use a non-lethal method, do whatever you can. Shooting another human being, a lot of people on YouTube, they say no problem, I'm going to snipe at him, I'm going to do this and this. You live with that decision for the rest of your life. And while you're doing that, you might make a quick judgment call and make a wrong decision, and that's even the worst thing you have to do. So using deadly force is the last option. I'm going to talk about suburban. I live in the country, so it's a little bit different than me, but all these things apply. Alright, we live in the suburbs. You have no bug out area. You're going to shelter in place. You're going to bug in. You're going to make your house your retreat. If you do have a place to bug out, for sure, bug out if it's a safer location, but make sure it's stocked already. You might say, well, I got a trailer, I got a big truck, I'm going to take all my supplies from my suburban house out to my country place or out to my friend's farm. And that's good, but the problem is you might not make it. You might physically not be able to take the truck there. It might be shot up. It might tear up and be broken. So then you'd resort to just your backpack and whatever you can carry, like the guy pictured here. He looks pretty healthy. He looks like he knows what he's doing. There's a very small percentage of Americans that could actually take a ruck, go to the woods and survive long term. Now granted, you can take your ruck full of mountain house, and go to the woods and survive for 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever amount of food you're carrying. But as soon as that food runs out, it's going to be very hard. Now, if it's in the spring and summer when a lot more food is available, it will help you. But if it's in the dead of winter and you are not trained, you've never received any type of training or never lived the lifestyle of trying to forage for food, it's going to be a miserable existence. Also, if you have loved ones with you, be it small kids, be it elderly, be it the weak, they will not be able to handle this day in and day out. So they will perish. It'll be very hard as a father or a mother to watch loved ones pass away. So have a plan. And the big thing is, country folks don't want you running around their woods competing for limited resources. You don't want to have to deal with Bubba. They own the woods, or they might not own them, but it's in their neighborhood, and they don't want you coming in there taking all their wildlife, the turkey and the deer, the squirrel, the rabbit, fishing in their creeks. During this time, resources will be very valuable, and you will protect the resources in your community. So you might have to face people that definitely don't want you there. In the movie I Am Legend, he bugged in. He made a little fortress, and that's where he was. So he bugged in and he survived against the zombies. Now granted, we're not going to be taking on zombies, but really we are, because hungry, desperate people will act like zombies when they're fighting for that last can of corn or that last bottle of water in Walmart. And when that's gone, they're going to be looking for food anywhere. So they're going to take from their neighbors. So you will actually be fighting the zombies. They won't be walking dead. They'll just be hunger. After a time of hunger, your body will change chemically, and the only thing you'll be thinking about is getting food for yourself and your family, and it's going to affect your judgment. And nowadays people say, well, I wouldn't kill my neighbor over a bag of food. When the time comes, yes, you would. It's proven. You're going to have a chemical change in your body. So we're going to turn your house into your retreat. First of all, look at your vegetation. If you got a lot of shrubs around your house, this is bad usually, because as you can see here, someone could actually break into your house. Your neighbors might not even see him break in, because the shrubs and the trees are giving him some camouflage to do his bad deeds. Or he might be hiding there. As you see the blue door, he might be hiding right behind the shrubs, and when you come up to open it at night, he can really gain entrance with you. So clear them out. Plus, it's fire prevention. If a fire starts in a raw situation and there is no 911, you're going to have to fight your fire yourself. Look at your house right now. You're going to turn your house into your retreat. So upgrade your doors and locks. If your doors and locks are subpar, you don't have good deadbolts, change them out. If you live in an apartment, it's hard to do, but there's some devices out there that you can increase your security on your doors. It doesn't damage your apartment or condo, so you're not going to get in trouble with your landlord. Do whatever you can do. Also, a lot of local police departments will send an officer out. I know in the big city near me, they'll send a person out, law enforcement. They'll walk through your house with you. They will give you tons of security hints. They will help you make your house or business much more secure. I actually know the one person that does it, and she does an excellent job. Alright, we're going to turn our house into a retreat. You might have to cover some of your windows, especially big bay windows, sliding glass doors, French doors, big areas where if they break, they can walk right in. The only problem with this, if you can cover them up, you do a few things. You first deny yourself the light. In a situation of no power, that light's going to be valuable. You also, you can't get ventilation. If the power's off, you're going to want some fresh air. So it has some pluses and negatives. The picture on the bottom are working shutters. Working shutters are probably your best bet. A lot of people have shutters, but they're not. They're just cosmetic. Take them down and find you a pair of real shutters that work. It will be very helpful in a situation to secure your house. Next, look at a safe room. A lot of people already own their house. They don't have the money to go build a safe room. But if you're new construction, think about a safe room. You can use it also for security. You can use it for tornadoes. So it's a big plus. You can upgrade. Say you have a big pantry. Drywall is usually on both sides of the wall, and that can be easily kicked in. So look for something where you can put plywood inside your safe room, your pantry, your big closet, and use long screws and screw them to the studs. It's very hard to defeat that. They will over time, but it's going to buy you a lot of time. I like this, especially if you have kids in the house that are old enough to stay home, but they're not old enough to use a firearm or mature enough. If something happens, someone breaks in, they can go to the safe room, shut the door, and throw a few deadbolts. and they're much secure. So get a good quality metal door, and it will buy you a lot of time for safety for your family. Next is alarms. I love alarms, but in a raw situation there probably won't be power, or there won't be someone monitoring your alarm, or if there is, they won't be able to contact the police because they're going to be busy with other things. So there's other alarms that preppers can use. They're very helpful, that run off batteries. I recommend everyone to do this. I mean, a ditch about 6 to 8 foot deep, a 10-foot fence, some concertina wire, surveillance cameras. But in reality, no one's going to do this. But I do recommend fencing. I love fencing because it does a few things. First of all, it tells you what their mindset is of a person. If a person jumps over a locked gate, you know something is probably wrong with them, or they're up to no good. Plus, it gives you time. If there's someone outside and you're on the other side of your property, inside your fenced area, and you're talking with them and they become a problem, it's going to take time for them to jump the fence. It will give you time to either retreat back in your house or get ready to defend yourself. So fences are good, but pick a fence that will match your neighborhood and match your house. Dogs are probably one of the best deterrents. A little dog, a big dog, it doesn't matter, they both bark. Now, granted, a big dog has some more deterrent because they can physically stop or hurt an intruder. Make sure you take into account your family, your lifestyle, and pick the right dog. Also, food requirements. That little dog, if you store a couple 100 pounds of food, it will last a long time. With a big dog, you're going to go through it very quickly. So make sure you can store the food for the dog. Curtains. Make sure you have some good curtains. Heavy curtains, they do a few things. A heavy curtain will definitely block the light out from coming in the summertime and make your house more enjoyable in the summer. It will also keep cold drafts out, but the biggest thing is light discipline. Look at night. If you were the only house, because you're a prepper and you have some backup power in there, be it candles or any type of flashlight, and you're the only one that has consistently power at night, people are going to start coming over and asking, hey, can you help me? Can you spare some light? Or what's going on? You don't want to stick out. Secondly, you want to deny people the ability to observe you while you're in your house. And this is good for everyday living. If there's a bad guy outside your house and he noticed that your wife is alone by herself, he's more inclined to break in the house. If he doesn't know who's in the house because he can't see, he doesn't know if there's 3 big guys sitting there watching the Monday Night Football game. So that takes and gives him some doubt. And usually if they doubt if there's going to be a successful burglary or a break-in, they're going to move on to a target that they know they can control better. Raised beds. Probably the best thing you could do because you can make a little bunkers. You can use it for barriers. Any type of device or landscaping that will enhance your security is a big plus. You can design it so cars can't hit your house, cars can't drive into your gate. They look good, and they also provide you with a bed to plant flowers in, or even vegetables if times get tough. Motion activated solar powered lights are awesome. If the grid goes down, this will give you some light. Also works as security. Make sure you get the ones that you can turn on and off, so when you want to have total blackness and blackout, you can do that, but then there'll be times when you want a little bit light outside and you can also do that. They cost about $50 to $100. I highly recommend them. Personal protection devices for the suburbanite, or really anyone. Definitely a firearm, a good quality firearm. But I want to talk non-lethal. As you can see, there's some rubber buckshot right there, and you can see the picture of the guy who was shot with it. There's so many good defensive non-lethal rounds. They're awesome. You got tasers, you got pepper spray. The one thing I would do if you have a lot of firearms is designate one of your shotguns. The police do it now because they've had a lot of mistakes with mixing non-lethal with lethal and accidents, and actually people have been killed because the police officer thought he was shooting someone with a non-lethal, but he put in a lethal buckshot or lethal slug. So mark your firearm. Make it only non-lethal. You don't have to buy the orange furniture to go on it. You can use red duct tape or anything that everyone knows that's a non-lethal. Don't even bring a lethal round around it. But the most important thing you can do as a prepper, doesn't cost you really anything, is get to know your neighbors, and that's the best way to safeguard your family during a crisis. Another way, which is actually working out, I know of a gentleman that's doing it. Actually, I know of 2 people doing it. I just found another lady that has great success with this. Neighborhood watch. Your local authorities will help you get it set up, and you get to know your neighbors. You get to ask them for contact information, and they're more inclined to help you out because it's trying to protect their community and their neighborhood. From there, you can find out who's prepping. You can bring up, what happened if the power goes off? What are we going to do for the neighborhood? And you can bring up, generators and food storage. So it gives you a way to talk to people, and hopefully from there you can find out who the preppers are. Community watch is a big plus. Alternative communication. You have to have an alternative way to communicate. If the grid goes down, no landlines, no cell phones. It could be CBs, could be family radios, ham radios. You have to. I'm not going to talk about this at this time, but I will do a video on what I'm using for alternative communication. Don't risk a last-minute supply run after a crisis situation develops. This is common sense. As good preppers, you should be fully stocked and ready to go at any time. So if you have any doubts of your safety getting extra supplies, don't do it. Make sure you go home or stay home, batten down the hatches, and stay out of the chaos. Fire protection. If there's no 911, there's no authority, there's going to be no police. There's going to be no fire. So you need to make sure you have lots of fire extinguishers, a smoke alarm. You need to make sure your house is safe. If you got old electrical wires that needs replacing, get them replaced. Clean up clutter. Preppers sometimes have a lot of clutter. Clean it up. The better you can make things clean, will make it more organized and will lessen the chances of a fire getting out of control. If you have one and you're organized and you don't have a lot of trash laying around, especially in your attic or basement, you have a shot at fighting it and stopping it. Trash discipline. Don't let your neighbors see what you're eating. If you consistently throw your trash away and they go through it, and day after day they see you're eating well, or they see you're eating Mountain House or other long-term storage food, they're going to come ask for some. You either can say yes and share with them and have less for you. You can say no, and they might be upset with you, and that could cause you a security problem down the road. Two approach to retreat security. The first one is the gray man. Everyone knows what the gray man is. You want to blend in. You don't want to show your strength. The problem with that is sometimes people see you as vulnerable and they can have a confrontation with you. So you can use the gray man, try to blend in, don't stand out, or you can use the black and blue man. The black and blue man, you're going to show everyone you're very strong, you have a capable group, and you're willing to defend yourself. That might be the mere presence of someone standing guard 24 hours a day. This is really good. That tells people, hey, don't mess with me. Usually they won't. They'll go to the next place or the next house, and they're going to mess with that person because they know they can take what they want from him. So I call that a black and blue, the black and blue man. You mess with us, we're going to make you black and blue, or maybe even worse. You need to have a plan. You need to have a written down plan. Your wife might be on board, but she might not all the time be paying attention to what you tell her, or vice versa. The wife might be on board, but the husband's not paying attention. But if you have a plan, and one of them's not there, one might be at work or in business, you can get the process starting of what you need to do because of a national emergency has occurred. Also, keep people busy. If you're keeping somebody busy doing something, they're going to have less time to worry.